welcome back to Blue Harvest Toys. A while back I produced a video on the toys of the 1970s. So in this video I'm going to move on to the 1980s. From Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Cabbage Patch Dolls to Care Bears. The 1980s saw an abundance of toys of all types. Some had just a brief lifespan, while others went on to become classic collector's items. The 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters were created in 1983 by UK cartoonist Kevin Eastman and writer-artist Peter Laird. In 1984, they brought their quartet of anthropomorphic teenage turtle superheroes to the public's eye with a 40-page black and white comic book. They funded the project with a tax refund and a family loan. They then put a press pack together, which was sent to various media outlets, and incredibly, their characters and the comic book were a huge success. Initially they planned on a print run of about 3,000, but the next issue of the comic saw advanced orders of 15,000, meaning that they could keep on producing their Ninja Turtle stories. Late that year, they went along to their first comic convention. 37 years on, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a hugely successful franchise, with the youngsters having their own particular favourite ninja. There's the leader, cool-headed Leonardo, fun-loving Michelangelo, studious and deep-thinking Donatello, and hot-tempered and fearless Raphael. Following the Ninja Turtles' first film, Playmates created figures of the heroes and the villains that they came up against, with countless numbers being sold out over the years, making the Ninja Turtles one of the most successful toy lines ever. Recently, a 1988 Donatello figure sold at auction for $325, that's about £235. Youngsters in the 1980s and their dads soon became fans of Transformers when they appeared in the shops and catalogues in 1984. These weren't just impressive and colourful robots, they quickly and almost magically transformed into something entirely different. Maybe a car, a weapon, an animal, almost anything. The film, The Transformers the Movie, which came out in 1986, featured the voice of Orson Welles as Unicron. While Transformer models are still massively popular today, for the toy collector, not surprisingly, the original or Generation 1 toys are the most sought after. If you happen to have a G1 Defensor gift set Italian in your loft, then it might just fetch you a small fortune. One sold for $13,797, which is about 10 grand, at auction. And it was an incredibly rare Italian version of the already rare Japanese Transformer gift set. For little girls in the 1980s, we saw the arrival of the ultra cute Care Bears. These adorable multicoloured bears originally painted by US children's illustrator Elena Kudardrick in 1981, intended to be used on greeting cards for the American greeting. However, 2 years later they were made into plush teddy bears. They went on to become superstars with their own TV series Care Bears, which ran from 1985 to 1988, and 3 feature films. Each bear is different coloured with a special belly badge indicating its personality. Should you still have a Care Bear and it's one of the collectors are after, then you've been known to fetch hundreds, even thousands of pounds. A vintage Care Bear cousin, Pink Monkey, a one-of-a-kind 1983 prototype plush animal sold in the US for $10,000, which is about $7,100 recently. Also having the cute factor, the little girls, is My Little Pony. These magical ponies had a brushable mane and tail plus accessories, created by Hasbro, having been developed by Bonnie Sackerly. These toys are as popular today as they've ever been. As for collecting them, some are rare ponies that will sell for hundreds. Mimic the twinkle-eyed unicorn pony, for example, will set you back at $200, £144. However, a Sweet Scoops mail order pony would demand an asking price of around $850, which is £612. While a very rare Rapunzel, with its incredibly long curled mane and tail, will set you back around $900, which is £648. Far from being lovely and cute in the normal accepted way, Cabbage Patch Kids were a kind of ugly, cute and cuddly all at the same time. Little girls adored them, and around 3 million of them were adopted. They were created by art student Xavier Roberts in the 1970s and originally made entirely out of cloth. They hit the peak in 1983 when you could adopt your very own unique kid, well, it came with its own birth certificate, for anything between $10 to $250, depending on who you fell in love with. The Cabbage Patch Kids, Teresa Ann, made in 1985 and sold at auction, fetching at $2,000. An original doll made by Xavier Roberts in 1979 before production began fetched $1,544. Great TV series to hit our screens and films all had a massive impact on what people were collecting and playing with in the 1980s. And it certainly was a time for some fantastic entertainment to enjoy. I mean, who wouldn't want a scruffy yellow Reliant Regal 3-wheel van with Trotters independent trading on the side after watching Only Fools and Horses? From September 1981 to December 2003, we're enjoying 64 episodes of this iconic comedy written by John Sullivan and starring David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst as Del Boy and Rodney Trotter. Other series had us glued to the sofa with The Professionals with Bodie and Doyle. This British crime action drama featured Martin Shaw, Lewis Collins and Gordon Jackson, agents in the fictional CI5, Crime Intelligence 5 department. That Ford Capri manufactured by Corgi saw a lot of action as our heroes rounded up the baddies in 57 episodes that ran from 1977 to 1983. A series that kids loved was of course The A-Team. This American action series ran from 1983 to 1987 and featured a group of former commandos and mercenaries led by Lieutenant Colonel John Hannibal Smith, played by George Peppard, and Lieutenant Peck, which was Dirk Benedict, nicknamed Face, a smooth-looking conman. Then there's Howley Mad Murdoch, Dwight Schultz, who is quite proud of being declared insane. And last but not least is Sergeant First Class Bosco B.A. or Bad Attitude Baracus, known as Mr. T in the programme. A set of 10 action figures spotted on eBay recently had an asking price of just over £2,000. December 1984 saw the Ghostbusters movie hit the big screens, some gathering fans worldwide, and a host of merchandising and collectibles to keep fans happy. Also on the big screen we sat in terror as we came to face with more of those aliens. 1986 saw the sequel of the first sci-fi horror film Alien. Since then, collectibles, artwork, posters, and even Alien Museum has been created. Throughout the 1980s, as well as the new toys coming out, youngsters hadn't forgotten the old favourites from the early decades. Meccano, which had been done in 1898 by Frank Hornby, was still popular, but Meccano saw lots of changes in the 1980s, with General Mills buying up Airflix products in 1981, and what was left of Meccano Limited UK. All the existing Meccano sets were scrapped, and new range of sets were designed for production in Calais, France. Meccano was later sold to Marc Ribebo, who in 1989 sold what was left of Meccano to Dominique Duvauchel. Slot cars also grew in popularity. The first slot cars were introduced in 1912 by the Lionel Train Company as an accessory for a model train set, intended to travel on their own roadways rather than racing. However, the idea of competing one against each other soon took over. It is said that the 1980s was the golden era of innovation for Scalextric, who produced some memorable sets including Mighty Metro, Le Mans and the 4-Lane World Championship. Slot cars are usually popular worldwide to this day. But while many toys, TV series and collectibles were taking off, one iconic series came to halt at the end of the 1980s. 4 actors played the role of the Doctor Who during the 80s, but these were Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. Having begun in 1963, it was axed in 1989 and didn't start again successfully until 2005. However, love for the show, its characters and adventures had never stopped, and the fans happily continued to watch and collect. So there you go, hope you enjoyed that little look back at the 1980s. I am going to start a new series talking about TV toys from the 50s onwards very soon, so look out for that. Please subscribe and press that bell icon so you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, may the toys be with you.